Hey everyone, how's it going? Hakai here, bringing you the newest chapter of Dragon Ball Hakai. This is the second part of chapter 47. As always, we're posting it compiled together with part 1, so if you've already watched part 1, skip to the timestamp appearing on the screen now. Chapter 47 of Dragon Ball Hakai marks the beginning of the long-awaited summer tournament on the Saiyan planet, which ended up getting an unexpected visit from Frieza. So what's this tournament gonna be like? What's Frieza gonna do now that he's found out about this tournament that was organized without anyone telling him? And how's Goku gonna act in the middle of all this? That's what we're about to find out. Go ahead and hit that like button right now at the start of the video so we know you're enjoying it when we bring Dragon Ball Hakai content for you guys. Leave a comment about anything you want to say about the story, or just comment something like God of Destruction Goku, Hakai, Frieza, or anything like that to help boost this video's engagement on the platform. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss any updates on Dragon Ball Hakai and all the other videos we're gonna post here. And if you know any other Dragon Ball fans, share this video with them so more people can get to know Dragon Ball Hakai. All of this that I'm asking for is super important for the video to reach more people on the platform, and for Dragon Ball Hakai to keep going, we need these videos to get a good number of views. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, alright? Anyway, let's get to it! Stay connected in the channel, and let's go to the video! Hakai. The title of chapter 47 of Dragon Ball Hakai is The Summer Tournament Begins. The chapter starts right where the last one left off, with Frieza arriving on the Saiyan planet and confronting the king about organizing a tournament without telling him. Frieza, in a threatening tone, asks if he should take this as an act of betrayal. The king doesn't waste any time and immediately kneels before Frieza, practically crapping his pants. He turns to his elite guards, scolds them, and orders them to kneel too, and of course, they obey instantly, terrified of both the king and Frieza. The crowd also starts kneeling before the Emperor of the Universe, and the tournament participants follow suit. Everyone is kneeling before the great Frieza. Well, everyone except Goku, who's looking around completely lost, like a blind man in a shootout. Tora scolds Goku and tells him to kneel right away before he gets them into trouble. Goku obeys and gets on his knees, but he's still a bit confused. Goku asks what's going on. Since Goku made up the story that he, Turles, came from the Desert of Darkness, Fasha figures he must not have had much contact with Saiyan civilization, and therefore supposedly doesn't know who Frieza is. Fasha then explains to him that this creature, Frieza, is the one who rules over the entire universe, and that they, the Saiyans, are part of his army. Unlike his cover identity as Turles, Goku actually knows exactly who Frieza is and his history with the Saiyans. But since Goku had never seen how Saiyans behaved in front of Frieza, he didn't imagine it was something this submissive. And if you think about it, when Goku met Frieza, there weren't any Saiyans serving him anymore. Clearly, no one there is happy about Frieza and his soldiers being around, but the one who's especially bothered is Bardock, who's wondering what the hell Frieza wants there. He already figures it can't be anything good. Nothing good ever comes from Frieza. Frieza walks closer to King Vegeta, alongside Zarbon and Dodoria. He questions the king again, asking if he's not going to explain what's going on. The king tells him they're just holding a cultural event for the Saiyan people, and that they actually do this every year. There's nothing unusual happening that Frieza should be worried about. But Frieza reveals that he actually already knew about this Saiyan cultural event, and it's precisely because of this tournament that he decided to show up. In fact, that whole talk about betrayal was just a joke. Frieza made to scare them a bit. He apologizes for the accusatory joke but says he simply couldn't resist King Vegeta's terrified face. Frieza then explains his real reason for showing up. He says he came because he wanted to watch the tournament, as it's a good opportunity for him to check the power levels of his aspiring soldiers, and even his veteran ones too, those already in his army. The king doesn't quite understand what Frieza means. Frieza then clarifies. He says that since the Saiyan army is part of his own army, every Saiyan soldier is also one of his soldiers, so he thinks it's important to know the power level of his troops. Since this tournament will feature many people who are or want to become members of the Saiyan army, that means these people are or want to be his soldiers as well, and he wants to evaluate those warriors. It's pretty clear that King Vegeta doesn't like that idea very much, and Frieza notices it. He asks if the king has any problem with that, and of course, King Vegeta tucks his tail between his legs and says there's absolutely no problem. He claims the opposite actually, that it's a great honor to have the great Frieza at their event. Fake as hell that King Vegeta, and Frieza flashes his own fake smile, saying it's very good to hear that. Frieza then says he's going to settle in with his soldiers while the king carries on with the event. And so, despite the unfortunate surprise that was Frieza's sudden appearance with his army, the event continued. The host of the event is a rather peculiar Saiyan who seems to care a lot about the beauty of his hair and has a flamboyant personality. This Saiyan announces to everyone that the summer tournament is finally about to begin. The crowd goes wild as the start of the tournament is announced, and in one of the probably many locker rooms, Goku and Team Bardock are watching everything on a TV. Well, actually, it's only Goku who's really paying attention to the TV. Tora's taking some time to work on his biceps, Borgos is sleeping, Bardock is sitting with his back to the screen, and while Fasha and Shugesh are facing the TV, they don't seem to be watching it. Goku seems to like the host and says he's a funny guy. The host starts explaining the tournament rules, which aren't many, and are actually pretty simple. As for how the matches are chosen, the fights will be drawn randomly, so there's always unpredictability, preventing the fighters from preparing or developing pre-arranged strategies. Most likely, a person will only find out who their opponent is at the moment their fight is announced. As for the fights themselves, almost everything is allowed, with only a few exceptions. First, leaving the arena area is forbidden. According to the explanatory illustration, the arena area includes the stands and perimeter zones, that is, the outer edges. But the moment you completely leave the arena, that's it, you lose. The host walks over to the large wall separating the combat zone from the stands and says it's forbidden to destroy any part of the arena beyond those walls. In other words, it's fine to crack or break the wall surrounding the fighting area, but if you destroy anything beyond that, like the stands or anything else, you lose the match. It's also forbidden to fire energy blasts toward the audience, since nobody wants the event's spectators to die, right? Anyone who breaks these rules, especially by destroying part of the arena outside the combat zone or killing someone in the audience, will be immediately disqualified and could even face the death penalty depending on the damage caused. As for how a fight ends, it's over when one of the competitors either surrenders, falls unconscious, or dies. When Goku hears that, he's a bit surprised to learn that killing is allowed in this tournament. He asks if that happens often. Bardock says yes, it's actually pretty common. He explains that Saiyan warriors are generally very proud and rarely have the courage to give up a fight in public. The few who do are mocked afterward. So the most common outcomes are losing by knockout or dying. It seems like Goku just now realized that the Saiyan tournament is very different from the ones he took part in on Earth. The Saiyans take their fights much more seriously than Earthlings do. Meanwhile, up in the royal box, Frieza comments to Zarbon, Dodoria, and everyone else there that he's very eager to see what the Saiyan tournament has to offer. He shoots a sidelong glance at the king while saying that, clearly knowing King Vegeta is furious about his presence. Frieza definitely said it just to provoke him. Dodoria, also clearly trying to provoke the Saiyans, tells Frieza not to expect too much from this tournament, so he doesn't end up disappointed. Zarbon adds even more fuel to the fire, saying this is a tournament for weaklings, after all. And honestly, thinking about it, watching a tournament like that must be pretty boring for people like Frieza, Zarbon, and Dodoria, especially Frieza. Only low-class Saiyans are participating in this tournament. In other words, there shouldn't be any competitor with more than 5,000 units in battle power. So for them, it must feel almost like watching a kindergarten tournament or something. Especially for Frieza, who has over 500,000 units in battle power in this more restrained form. Anyway, Frieza replies to Zarbon and Dodoria that it doesn't matter if the competitors are weak. For him, the fun is in watching worms kill each other. That never stops being entertaining for him. While Frieza is chatting with Zarbon and Dodoria, King Vegeta is more concerned with figuring out what Frieza is really doing there. He doesn't quite buy the story that Frieza came just to watch the tournament to check the participants' power levels. There's definitely more to it. After explaining the rules, the host finally announces the start of the fights. The crowd goes wild, and Goku gets really excited too. And so, the Saiyan tournament finally begins, with all kinds of battles taking place in this competition. Some fights are short and easy, like this one where Fasha knocks out her opponent without much trouble and without taking any injuries. Some fights are longer and tougher, like Shugesh's match against another huge Saiyan, where he seems to be struggling hard to win. As Bardock had explained to Goku, the competitors don't give up and push their bodies to the absolute limit. Just like this guy who fought Borgos and kept going even after having an arm torn off until he finally couldn't take it anymore and passed out. But there are also cases where death comes before a knockout, like with that poor guy who faced Tora, who killed him without a shred of mercy. Of course, there's always that one competitor who isn't quite as determined and ends up choosing the dishonor of surrendering. That seems to be the case with the guy who fought Bardock. He gave up after Bardock broke one of his arms. After several matches have already taken place, including the first fights of the Team Bardock crew, the tournament host finally announces the fight everyone's been waiting for. The tournament host tells the audience that the next match is going to be very interesting. Goku is glued to the TV in the backstage, eager to know what the next fight will be. Meanwhile, you can see that Tora went right back to working his biceps after fighting. Zero remorse from Tora. He just blew a crater in some guy a moment ago and he's already there casually pumping his biceps again. But anyway, for a Saiyan, blowing someone up is like eating breakfast, right? Totally normal. And, to Goku's delight, the tournament host announces that the next fighter will be the mysterious troublemaking Saiyan who came from the feared Desert of Darkness, Turles. When Goku hears that he'll be the next to fight, he gets super happy. Knowing Goku, he was definitely itching to beat someone up, and the one who's gonna fight Goku is a Saiyan called Captain Pier, the Devastator. And just by looking at this guy and his nickname, you can already tell he's not just any low-class Saiyan warrior. And we get confirmation of that when Bardock becomes very worried after finding out Goku's opponent will be Pier. Goku asks if this guy called Pier is strong. Shugesh even finds it funny when Goku says that, and he explains that Pier is one of the strongest among the low-class Saiyan warriors. Tora explains that Pier is called the Devastator because when he goes on planetary domination missions, he tells all the soldiers on his team to stay quiet and let him wipe out all the populations of the planets all by himself. In other words, this Pier guy must be like Bardock, a low-class Saiyan who's the captain of a squad of low-class soldiers, but when he and his team go on missions, he simply tells everyone to do nothing and let him exterminate the entire planet alone. This guy, besides being strong enough to take on entire planets by himself, must also be a huge maniac because he must enjoy killing so much that he doesn't even want to share the slaughter with his comrades, but it must be great for the people under him, right? They basically don't even have to work. But continuing on, Borgos gets disappointed when he finds out Goku's opponent will be Pier, because Pier will definitely win, and he himself won't get the chance to make Goku pay for what he did to him. Borgos must still be really hurt about Goku making him sit on the stick, literally. And in Bardock's case, he's worried because he wants Goku to show his improvement to the king, since King Vegeta already said he wants to see Goku fight in this tournament without those little tricks they said he uses. He wants to see Goku fight in the Saiyan style. So if Goku loses too quickly to Pier, he might not get to show anything to the king, and that'll be a problem for both him and Bardock, who is responsible for him. Bardock tells Goku that if the king gets disappointed with him, it'll be the end for both of them. But Goku is super chill, and tells Bardock to relax. He says he's sure he'll deal with this guy quickly. Fasha laughs at what Goku said and says he's extremely clueless. After his fight is announced, Goku goes to the arena and stands face to face with his opponent. The host is very excited back there to see the fight break out. Pier looks very confident and eager to turn Goku into mush, and Goku looks pretty calm and confident as well. And just a quick question here, what do you think Goku is gonna do? How is he gonna deal with this guy named Pier? Is Goku going to act like the weakling who escapes trouble by luck, or is he going to be more straightforward and actually fight this guy? If Goku defeats this guy Pier too easily, he might raise too many suspicions. But if he drags things out too long, that might end up annoying the king and causing trouble for him. There's the chance that Goku might simply fake defeat, but would he really want to leave the tournament that early? Even though everyone there is extremely weak for him, would he really give up already? Before continuing with the video, comment what you think. Will Goku go straight to the point in this fight, pretend to be weak and lucky again, or pretend to fight a little and then throw the match? Tell us your theory. Remember that every comment helps the video, so don't forget to share your thoughts. Continuing, Pier starts cracking his knuckles and threatening Goku. He says he'll finish Goku in 5 seconds, because he's sure that once he beats Goku up, the king will be very pleased and will promote him for wiping out the guy who caused trouble in his castle. And in fact, King Vegeta is paying very close attention to the fight about to start from his VIP box, his eyes glued to the center of the arena. One of the guards beside the king comments that this tailless guy had really bad luck to face someone like Pier right in the first match. King Vegeta says he doesn't give a damn who Turles is gonna fight. If in this match he can't show anything good besides tricks, he'll have Turles killed right then and there, assuming Pier himself doesn't do it first. The truth is, given the mess Goku caused back at his castle, including pulling tricks on the prince himself, King Vegeta normally would have executed him on the spot. But since Turles supposedly came from an isolated place, is Bardock's brother, and pulled off an impressive feat by stalling Prince Vegeta in the castle guards, the king became intrigued and decided to give him a chance to show something worthwhile in this tournament. In other words, King Vegeta has already been lenient with Goku by giving him a second chance, and he won't do it again, no matter what happens. When Frieza hears King Vegeta talking with his guard about one of the men about to fight, he becomes interested, because he notices there's something in this fight that's catching the king's attention. Frieza then asks the king why they haven't measured the battle power of any of the participants using the scouters yet. The Saiyans have scouters, but nobody is using them. The king explains the reason to him. He says that almost always, the person with the highest battle power wins the fight. This is practically a rule with few exceptions. So, if they measure the fighters' power levels before the matches, they basically remove all the surprise from the fight and ruin the experience. The king asks Frieza if he doesn't agree with that. Frieza even agrees that his line of thinking is correct, but he wants to know the battle power of these guys anyway. Frieza then puts on his scouter and measures Goku's and Pier's battle powers, and then, just out of spite, to ruin the King's and the others' experience, he immediately reveals that Pier's battle power is much higher and that the fight is going to be a massacre. The King gets pissed at Frieza because Frieza set their power levels on purpose just to provoke him. He already expected Pier to be stronger, so it's not new information, but it was still a jerk move from Frieza to bring it up. Gine is really anxious up in the stands. She's realizing that Goku is about to face a very strong guy, and she's worried about him, wondering if he's going to be okay. But then Gine quickly cheers up and starts shouting and rooting for Goku. Leek looks at her kind of puzzled, definitely wondering why she's cheering so hard for another man who isn't Bardock. And only now does it seem like Leek realizes that this new guy looks exactly like Bardock. The tournament host finally starts the match. Pier doesn't hold back and comes running straight at Goku, ready to bulldoze him with punches, shouting that he's going to crush him with a single hit. But then, to Captain Pier's complete surprise, Goku leaps forward in a single jump, gets fully inside Pier's guard, and lands a clean hit right in the middle of his body, very reminiscent of the strike Goku used on Rikume from the Ginyu Force. And then, with just one hit from Goku, Captain Pier drops to the ground knocked out with absolutely no condition to continue fighting. And of course, everyone is absolutely shocked. How did this weak, inexperienced Saiyan named Turles manage to take down the great Captain Pier, the Devastator, with a single blow? Well, it seems Goku decided to go straight to the point in this fight and finish his opponent quickly without dragging things out. But was that the right decision? Because now he shocked everyone in the arena, including Frieza and King Vegeta. Could this put Goku's disguise at risk? Comment what you think. Also, don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone you think might enjoy it, because that helps the video's engagement a lot. And for Dragon Ball Hakai to continue here on the channel, we need the videos in this series to perform well. And if you want to help even more directly with production, consider subscribing to our Patreon. For a very small amount, you already help a lot with the continuation of Dragon Ball Hakai, and also receive some exclusive benefits from our channel, such as early access to the Dragon Ball Hakai manga. That's it for this video, guys. In the next Dragon Ball Hakai video, we'll wrap up chapter 47, which is already almost finished. See you next time, I'm out.